I had a go yesterday at Mkhonto for their use of the courts for something which is, to my mind, and let's face it, I'm not a lawyer, so what do I know? But it does seem to me that they do not have a prayer of finding the relief they seek in the matter against the SABC's supposedly unconstitutional use of the term government of national unity when reporting on politics in the country at the moment. The next appearance in court will be on Thursday. The SABC filed its reply on Monday night, and Dali Mpofu, on behalf of MKP, said, can we have a little bit more time to file our response to their response to our original papers? Granted. But I'm looking at the original papers, and I see in those original papers that, according to the MKP's papers, description of the government as a government of national unity is inaccurate. Now, remember the DA, Helen Ziller, and Alan Winde backing that up in an address to the Cape Town Press Club yesterday, saying they don't think it's government national unity, they think it's a multi-party coalition. So there is some debate, contestation around how accurate the name is. But according to the MKP's papers, using the description, government of national unity, violates various constitutional rights. Now listen to these rights, which are, according to Dali Mpofu's papers, being violated by the use of the term government of national unity. The right to dignity, the right to equality, the right to life, the right to freedom and security of the person, the right to citizenship, and the right to access to information held by the state or another person. What? You have got to be kidding me. But maybe I'm missing something that legal analyst Mpumalelo Zikalala might well have picked up. Mpumalelo, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, and also good afternoon to your listeners.
Am I missing something? Does MKP's party papers rest on fairly substantial legal pillars?
Unfortunately not. In fact, it goes against and what they are seeking in their papers is what I would want any media institution to do, which is to censor or to then say we are going to sift the news and decide what terms and words we are going to use, what expressions we are going to include or exclude when delivering the news. We want the news to be raw as they are and to be informed what a certain political party or any member of our government has stated, so that we're able to decide for ourselves as to whether that is authentic or not. So in this case, what they want the ANC the SABC to do, for example, is to say, after we have gone and we've recorded all our news clips, let's edit anything that has to do with the government of national unity and say something which is totally different to the public from what has been stated by the person who was at the press briefing, for example. Something that can't be done and something which goes against what our constitution says. If you are going to look at section 16 of our constitution, which talks about the freedom of expression, especially the freedom of the press and other media, to say, go and report accurately as it is and then take it from there. But my second point would be, I think the MK party is looking at it from, they are shooting the messenger instead of going to the person that owns the name or that created the name. Part and parcel of the individuals that should be on those court papers should be all the political parties that are within the government of national unity, to say to them, don't mislead individuals if you so believe so, and make sure that you report whatever that you have, whether it's a coalition government or anything that you want to term it with, in a manner in which it adds. For it to attack the media, I think they are a bit incorrect and they are, with all due respect, backing up the wrong tree.
I mean, really, if you call it a horse or an equine quadruped, we're talking about the same thing. I kind of get the DA's argument that it is more a multi-party coalition than it is a government of national unity. I also get the argument from those people who do want to call it a government of national unity. Why on earth are we wasting court time on something so obviously frivolous?
I think from the MK party, if you look at their papers, they're basically saying there's a history behind this name. And according to that particular history, that meant that every single political party that would have made it to parliament at that time would have given a stake or a role to play in that particular government. Now, in this case, it was purely on a voluntary basis. and there are political parties that are in the opposition benches. So if you want to liken it to what was happening within that particular time, this is something which is different. But as you've stated, it's a matter of semantics. Even if you take the word and break it down, is it a government? Yes. Is it national? Yes. It's all national parties that are within national sphere. Is there unity? Yes. The mere fact that they are there together, the mere fact that there are a number of political parties that are occupying ministerial positions and even committees of chairpersons, and they come from different political parties and something that has never happened before, it may as well qualify as the government of national unity, which is then mean that if you're going to report on it and say it is that, then it is a government of national unity and it can't be disputed, or you are not misleading any individuals if you call it so.
We use the term, and have used the term some time now in South Africa, lawfare, using the courts to wage political battles. And I mean, I'm surely Advocate Mpofu, SC, knows that he's on, I was going to say, thin legal ground, but completely absent legal ground on this. And at what point do the courts start kicking back against the MKP or anybody else that is using the courts to fight battles that need to be fought in Parliament or on the streets? And I use the word fight on the streets in a metaphorical sense. It really, it's just such. I was reading about the difficulty of access to the Gauteng High Court. Some matters to do with the RAF are being set down for hearing towards the end of 2026. That's how much the court rolls are crowded. And yet we have to deal with rubbish like this.
Unfortunately, it is the person who's the opponent, in this case it would be the SAPC, that would then say, I want to seek punitive cost because you have brought this matter on an urgent basis, and yet there are no merits in which you have provided to the court. You've wasted the court's time, our time in terms of it, and there must be some sort of punishment that is there. But the real question should be, is the amount of punishment enough to deter any further disturbances in the normal court processes that would be there? The answer would be no, because probably the MK party, when they went to court, they knew exactly that at the end of the day, there's going to be some punishment which is going to be there. And they're going to court having gone to trial and prepared for any type of cost in which they're going to get. From the side of the court, they usually take an impartial view to say, we will welcome any dispute that is there because it's a right that is interest in the constitution, that we are going to solve disputes amongst members of the public and entities as and when they come. But in instances where we feel that someone is abusing this particular court process, that's when you're going to step in and provide those punitive measures. Another thing that could have taken place is for the SAPC or the respondents to then say, we want security that if you lose in this case, you will be able to pay our cost, you will be able to make sure that you're able to settle whatever legal costs we would have incurred before we even start. But it usually depends on the appetite of the parties that are going within that fighting arena. And it is an opportunity which is available to any litigant to say, provide security for cost, because I can see that what you are doing is a bit frivolous. Another thing which would be looked at by the court is that this matter has been brought on a, let's call it a semi-urgent basis, because in order for it to be held within the short amount of time and not like the RAF cases that you've quoted, there must be a degree of agency that must be there. And I think that's what the court is also going to look at. And if the matter is dismissed purely on agency, then the costs are going to follow. So it is a punishment from the MK party for the cost of the SAPC. But when it comes to the administrative of justice and the clogging of the system pertaining to other matters that could have been heard, unfortunately, we do not have a remedy that will be able to deal with that aspect.
Thank you very much to constitutional legal analyst Mpumalelo Zikalala. Appreciate your insights into this matter.